Hello everyone, I'm Samurai Man. Today I'm going to do a speedrun explanation for Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. The first Prime game's speedrun explain I've already done, and if you're interested to see that, link is in the description. The speedrun is done by Mr. Mikkel, who is the current world record holder of the game. Speedrun of Prime games tends to use a file or memory card that has seen all of the cutscenes, so runners don't spend their time watching any of those. Run's real time starts on gaining control of Samus, but the community still uses in-game time as a comparison for the leaderboard and for the main focus, because it's very accurate for these games. The very first trick, or glitch in fact, that runners are gonna do is item loss skip. What runners have to do is go out of bounds and save all of their equipments, because normally playing the game you would lose all of your equipments. But in this next part, there's a hole in the ceiling that runners use to go out of bounds. Now I will give you a brief explanation how does out of bounds work in Metroid Prime trilogy. Every Metroid Prime room is inside a box. The shape of the box changes based off room's layout. If Samus ever goes outside of the box, then she'll end up standing on ether that's been named by the community. A very important technique called ether jumping is utilized in these speedruns. Samus has 3 frames to perform a jump from a ledge. It takes advantage of the coyote frames. With enough practice, runners can get very consistent at it. In a first Prime game, Samus's air mobility is limited when falling off a ledge, making this technique very difficult. If runners want to gain height in that game, they should use corners of boxes, since failing an ether jump will be a big waste of time. In Echoes and Corruption, runners can perform ether jumps without a corner, since they have more control of Samus mid-air. Now that you understand how out of bounds works in this game, let me explain how room loading works. There are 2 types of in-game loads, proximity loads and load triggers. For proximity loads, runners have to get close to a door, so the next room starts to load. Load triggers, on the other hand, work differently. Runners need to touch a specific spot in a room to load the next area. For example, in this upcoming room, this is where the load trigger is. Alright, you've learned a lot in a short time. Let's continue the video. The reason they're going out of bounds quite a lot, or the reason why out of bounds is so useful for Prime 2 is how easy it is to go out of bounds. One useful thing is to get this power bomb expansion that is in the next room. Power bomb early breaks the game wide open. A lot of things are possible now. Some bosses can be just one shot with a single power bomb. Now, what runners have to do is to get back in bounds. There's one way that they'll be doing, and that's getting to Acon Wastes. Acon Wastes elevator, just nearby that, there's a spot they can get back in bounds. And it will be done by getting on this one door frame here, load the next room, and scan dash to the right height, and then force the load for the room. And they're back in bounds like that. We're in Acon Wastes in 3 minutes. And we didn't lose any of the abilities. We have boost ball, we have more ball bombs, and we have power bombs, etc. This little trick here that runners do is called extended scan dash. That is a very technical mechanic of this game that I will give an explanation how it is done. Extended scan dash is a unique speedrun technique used solely in Metroid Prime 2. Other Prime games have it too, but it isn't used like at all in those. A regular scan dash looks like this. It gives a little bit distance to cross smaller gaps. And this is what an extended scan dash looks like. This technique allows runners to gain more speed and jump across bigger gaps. It is done by doing a dash mid-air. Start holding the R button just before touching the ground, then immediately jump off from the ground. The timing of every input is precise. There's roughly 4 frames of leniency. It takes a ton of practice to get consistent at it. You'll be seeing it used a lot in this speedrun. E-tank is collected here. Runners do need E-tanks so they can survive through dark ether atmosphere. We're not going to fight the boss or anything, we're just gonna go out of bounds again. This time we're making our way to go out of bounds to fight Dark Samus right away. And the extended dash is used here, yes, and it's this run is very technical, so you know that they've spent a lot of time doing this. Now we then went out of bounds just to get past that door. That was a light beam door, and we go out of bounds again to go to fight against Dark Samus. Because the door that leads to Dark Samus will be also a light beam door, and it's not possible to get through those. While being out of bounds, there's a loading trigger for Dark Samus fight that will be touched. Then the fight starts. Now before starting the fight, the map or pause is off or is pressed, so that way it will. Well, let's just say there's a opportunity for game to crash. I don't know the explanation exactly, and nobody knows why it would crash, but opening the map would minimize the crash potential. Also, the Power Bomb just one-shot Dark Samus, because you're not supposed to have Power Bomb this early in a game. After the Dark Beam will be the Light Beam, the two beams back to back, and they will be really important for the run, because you need to open all kinds of doors in this game. There's many ways to climb up this room without using that one platform by lowering it. And the good thing about Prime 2 compared to 1 is the drops for all of the health, missiles and so on. If you're low on missiles or health or power bombs, the game will focus on giving you those more than any other items. You see the runners sometimes do those like an instant morphs. That's because the camera tries to move from first person to third person, but because it gets stuck, then it will just instantly flip like that and go from first person to third person, just like that fast. Now with Light Beam acquired and with Power Bomb in possession as well, runners can make their way to go to Sanctuary Temple. Scan dashes here, extended dash to keep the momentum. The game does not actually show this, but you do have Spider Ball at the start of the game. It doesn't show in an inventory. Each of the regions have 2 extra elevators that leads to different regions. One leads to Sanctuary in Aegon, and other one leads to Torvus. So all of those kind of little shortcuts will be used in this speedrun to minimize backtracking and travel time. There is one more obstacle on the way, and for that a Power Bomb is required. The little bridge glass thing is on the way, and it can be only broken with a Power Bomb. Fortunately, like I explained, the Metroid Prime 2 likes to drop any items that you're low on, so you won't miss on not getting the Power Bomb drop. And we are gonna go out of bounds quickly in this room by using the door frame, which is a little buggy, but hey, it works. Now here they're going out of bounds to just save time on the next room, because normally you need to flip those switches for fires, and you can put down a platform around this sphere. But this skips that completely now when we have this shortcut open. This technique is called roll jump, and it's using the instant unmorph technique, or just a little thing that is in a game when the camera tries to flip from third person to first person quickly. It will be done a lot. Now this loading was done with the scanning is to load the next room, because the loading happens in the background when there's cutscenes playing and such. Now this is gonna be very interesting to explain, but the roll jump is used to get on top of this robot. Then they're gonna go far out of bounds for this run and scan dash on a different robot. Now this robot is gonna warp to its original location where it's gonna start moving from. And here runners are far out of bounds, and using the map they're doing a thing called load delaying. The game pauses all loading in the background for the next rooms if pause or map is opened. And by doing this, they're able to have enough time to get to the spot where the screw attack is. Because the screw attack is in a vault, and They're now stuck there, but they're able to get out of the vault by doing some series of clipping and such. It all happened so fast, but they got the screw attack just like that. Getting screw attack this early in a game, 12 minutes in a game, is it breaks the game even more wide open than a power bomb does. Screw attack is the final upgrade of the game, and it allows for more out of bounds, because the screw attack lets you clip certain spots like morph ball holes next to the enemy and falls, etc. Now, what runner goes for is set up for a big skip that helps to make this speedrun even possible and faster, called Quadraxis skip. And for this, they're gonna go out of bounds, and they're gonna stay in Dark Ether for a very long time. Now this, what's happening here, is very, very, very scary, because a single mistake from using a screw attack will mean a run over, because screw attack requires a ground to land on. But Ether is not ground. Nothing in out of bounds will be considered ground. When runners need to get back in bounds after a wall crawl, the most common method they use is a technique called ceiling warp. Ceiling warps work when Samus's morphed collision changes to standing collision while on back face falls or ceilings, which causes the player to clip in bounds. This only works if you're not in a prioritized ether box. For example, wrong room, since on correct room collision, checks work as normal. Runners have barely enough time to hit this loading trigger, or the cutscene trigger, and get their health reveal as well. Now there's another problem. They have to escape this place too. And to escape it normally you would have to use an Annihilator, the weapon that you get from Quadraxis. But fortunately, by using screw attack, it is possible to get out of bounds in that room. Waiting here is done for a while just to get health refill back. Then they have to quickly get out of here before time runs out. Every time you take damage in Dark Ether, you lose 6 health points per second while using Varia Suit. With Dark Suit it will be 1.2 health per second. But runners don't go for Dark Suit at all. There's one more jump that needs to be done to save this speedrun. And if this jump is not done, it will be run over. They have to get back in bounds on this spot before the room loads. They have to get to that position. If they're too low, they will clip through the floor and the run will be over. With that temple completed, all they have to do is just head to the temple and give back the energy, so they can then receive the light suit later. Only Sanctuary Temple light is necessary to bring back to get the light suit. Light suit doesn't require you to complete Torvus Bog or Akon Wastes, it's only Sanctuary Temple. This part is the fastest to get to the temple, since runners do not get the Annihilator at all. Couple shots to the quad, then a power bomb will pretty much end the fight fast. There's a quick little extended dash done. I've tried this myself and it is not easy. It is not easy, I'll tell you. It was a nice boost jump there, I must say, against the wall, or like a bomb slot. That scanning there was done because they want to get the Cobalt Translator after the cutscene is over. The Cobalt Translator is used for one of the doors that leads to Spider Guardian. It needs to be opened. And now again, they'll go out of bounds. Using the exact same technique that was done earlier while doing Quadraxis skip. This works exactly the same as well here. They are identical rooms. The reason they're waiting here is for the whole big room to load. Mr. Mikkel just scanned the gate far away. Actors can have two types of scan sources. The center of the actor itself, or there's no source. If you try to scan an object far away, then move Samus in position to block her view with a wall texture, for example. Then it will move the scan source to be closer to you. What Mr. Mikkel is about to do is a glitch called cannonball. They need to scan the cannon, then head back to the door and transition to Sanctuary Temple, perform Ceiling Warp and get into the cannon. Keep in mind we are out of bounds this whole time, so Samus will be sent into nothing. The room we were at unloads, because the game wants to load adjacent room, thanks to proximity loading. Now this powerful glitch is active. It makes Samus invulnerable to any damage in Morph Ball, deals 500,000 damage per frame, and kills some enemies instantly. The next part is gonna be escaping, or leaving, in fact, leaving Sanctuary Fortress. There they went backwards, just to make sure that they would get the power bomb drop. And there's a good way to know when you get a power bomb drop is, or you grab one, is the sound effect that plays when you grab one of those power bomb expansions. Because this room requires, or this door, in fact, requires a power bomb. Here's a good way you see that cannonball. Yeah, nothing is damaging you, and you pretty much kill anything you touch. This glitch, cannonball, it will stay in you the whole time if you don't reload the game. This little technique here is called roll jump, a very ancient trick for this game even. There's a statue that they have to jump over. Fortunately for them, they have a boost ball, so they can use this. They can use that to jump over that, or boost over it. In fact, the cutscene was playing there that you would normally get the first time that you enter this. Now, this one is called Air Underwater. The game thinks that you have like a normal air, like. Simply said, the game thinks you're underwater, which is true, but you're able to use screw attack, which is not possible while being underwater, because the gravity boost will take over that instead. And with the screw attack underwater like that, they're able to scan these two objects, statues, pillars, and get to Alpha Block room. The gravity boost is pretty much required just to get that one temple key. Alpha Block boss fight won't be done. It can be easily skipped by using Bomb Space Jump, BSJ as a short. It uses the instant unmorph that is done against the wall, because the camera can't just move the camera can't move behind the Samus or towards Samus. So it just flicks, and during that moment you have 22 frames to perform an action. In this case it's jump. And if it's done correctly, you'll have enough height to make it up. And then escape the fight like that. Powerbomb Guardian seems like an interesting choice to do for the speedrun, but there's one perfect reason why it is done. One of the Sky Temple keys is not possible to collect at all if the Powerbomb Guardian is alive. For some reason it is in Aegon Wastes as well. That's pretty much the fight. It's all done normally, nothing different. They are able to jump up with those bomb jumps, get to the power bomb, drop power bomb much faster. They started the run with one power bomb by getting it from out of bounds. The main power bomb gives you 2 extra power bombs to use then. So overall, the run has 3 of them right now. Getting some refills here before moving on. Need all of those ammo. Okay, this upcoming part is going to be very interesting. There's a big block of collision by this door, caused by the barrier blocking the super missile. The developers extended the laser barrier pretty far down to ensure you couldn't bypass it and get supers before the fight, which had the unfortunate side effect of the lower room access being blocked. While being on elevator, runners need to perform a trick called load delay, so they can get to the door. Load delaying is done by opening the pause menu or map constantly. This is the same trick that was used earlier in Speedrun to get screw attack. Once we get nearby the door, we are not stuck inside the block, Now runners must perform a trick called Screw Attack Unmorph. How does this work? When you unmorph, the game sets morph state to unmorphed after 60 frames. But if you were to block the camera, it would skip it and Samus would go into that state right away. If you activate Screw Attack after instant unmorph and before 60 frames have passed, then you would be forced into unmorphed state by the game. When it's done in this spot, there's no space to be in standing state, then Samus enters ghost state. This happens when the game tries to reposition Samus to a valid location, but it fails doing that, and it results Samus being able to move freely through that specific part of the collision, and that's how runners can get past this invisible wall. Then they're gonna go out of bounds using this morph ball hole, and this way they'll do the fight in a temple, then firing perfectly timed dark beam shots to one-shot space pirates. Now this cutscene actually warps Samus up on the floor, so they're not out of bounds anymore. Couple shots from dark beam and the missiles will end these fights faster. The super missile is not acquired yet, they'll get it later. After leaving Torvus Bog, there's one obstacle on the way, and that's the Umber Translator door. The Umber Translator is not gotten yet, so what they have to do is go out of bounds to get past that door. For this they have to enter the on top of the door frame and make the game think that we're in this room by loading it. Now the game thinks that this room is loaded, it's in the background, and by using the Screw Attack they can just barely enter there before it's loaded fully. They went there touch on that spot, so the elevator will be loaded in the background, because right now it wouldn't be loaded, or before that it wouldn't be loaded. Another out of bounds was used, and using the Screw Attack to get inside the elevator, because like I said, runners don't have the Umber Translator, not even Violet Translator. And if I recall correctly, that door that you saw, that is actually not Umber, it's Violet Translator door. That you would have you will need to have a Violet for that. There's an obstacle on the way that can't be gotten past at all, but with a out of bounds clip they can then get past this. It's that block that will be on the way. Entering this fight from out of bounds will just warp Samus back in bounds, and that's how they can enter back in bounds. And the fight is not even recurrent, so they skip that by using space jump boots. And if you remember about the Sanctuary Fortress and bringing back the energy, yeah, here you can see that we're getting the light suit without even completing Akon Waste's energy and Torvus Bog energy. And this is the late game item, and it helps you to collect the Sky Temple keys much faster, and just to move around faster too. Now this warp to Akon Temple is done to get the Umber Translator, because there's a couple of doors that has to be opened with the Umber. Next up is pretty much gonna be collecting the Sky Temple keys. And that's how we get the Super Missile now. It wasn't helpful earlier, but now it's time to get it. You might be wondering why runners are collecting those Torvus Bog keys. Well, this game requires Dark Visor to collect those Sky Temple keys, because the ink catch, I think it was named, ink catch doesn't show up on a screen normally, but using the Dark Visor you can see them, and if you shoot them once they will be visible, and killing them will give you a Sky Temple key. If it were possible to skip that, runners will do that. When the fight starts, runners go to scan visor mode immediately and start scanning the larva. The reason is that you can't hit the weak point if you haven't scanned the boss, so that's why it's done. Hitting the weak point with a super missile deals a ton of damage, which you... Okay, it missed here, unfortunately. Sometimes it jumps twice, so you might be able to see it coming up now. There you go, how powerful the super missile is. Light beam is used then when it shows up a little bit like that. If all the particles from a light beam hits, it will deal more damage. That's why they jump, so they can have a better chance to hit the larva. From the radar, it's possible to see where larva shows up. Dark beam deals better damage, and it's faster DPS compared to Power Beam. That's why it was spammed so much there. Couple more shots and larva. The first phase is done for Chykka. You remember the cannonball glitch that was done earlier? Deals 500,000 damage per frame and kills some enemies instantly. Well, cannonball, yeah, it does one-shot bosses too. And there you go. Chykka adult, done. They have to reload the room because they don't have to bring back the energy. The bomb slot was activated to save time in-game time, I mean. With the dark suit, with the dark visor, now all runners have to do is collect the Sky Temple keys. Some of these Sky Temple keys are possible to collect without the light suit, but most of them do require a light suit. And some that require are underwater. You will take damage and you wouldn't go underwater without the light suit. This is going a lot back and forth with light ether and dark ether in each of the regions, because dark ether is not connected in every possible way. So many paths are closed. Now will be a dead end, which is true, but going out of bounds is possible here by doing a slope jump on that little rock. The landing just barely on a good spot for getting back in bounds. Now we're just waiting here to let the room load. There we go. And the next one is Lower Torbus, where the second Sky Temple key is waiting. The second key is right here. Just gotta go to Dark Ether. You would have to take down the barrier that's protecting the portal, but it's possible to bonk to the wall with a screw attack and land on the platform, then get to the Dark Ether. This will be another of those impossible to collect Sky Temple keys without light suit. Now with Torbus Bog done, it's time to move on to the next region, and that will be Aegon Wastes. There is a way to break these by using a screw attack with a well-timed shot from missiles and a well-timed screw attack as well. The screw attack hitbox is large enough to touch those spots for the Seeker missile to hit. There's still Seeker missile door too, and it needs to be done the same way as well. There you go, that's how they open the door to Aegon Wastes. The bomb space jump was done here to get up there without needing to use the boost ball. This seems weird, but they're just waiting for this room to load, and the game will play a cutscene, then warp you straight to this spot, because the game assumes that you're entering Dark Ether for the first time, and you're able to move there for the first time too. Normally you would have to do the fight, or you do the fight here, but you can skip it completely. And here you shot the in-catch once, screw attack it, and it just one-shots, and that's how they can get the Sky Temple key. They climbed up using the obstacles of the room to get up there. If none of them were there, they might not be able to even climb up the room. And the platforms that are invisible would have to be used. This one requires the Power Bomb Guardian to be killed. Then it shows up. Now with Aegon Wastes done, they're heading to Sanctuary Temple next. Sanctuary Fortress, my bad, Sanctuary Fortress. In Sanctuary Fortress, the keys are a little bit far apart, and one of them is behind a Spider Guardian, which is really awkward to try to get to. The other one is at the entrance of Sanctuary Fortress. They're gonna go to Dark Ether right away to grab the one that's in the entrance. They're just waiting here. Some rooms take a long while to load. So, and there is not much they can do to speed up the loading. The only best thing they can do to speed up loading is to get to the next door as soon as possible, so it starts loading the next room. Ingach was shot there before using the screw attack, so they can instantly kill it with the screw attack. One more key is in a Sanctuary Temple, and that's the awkward one I was mentioning, that it's behind a Spider Guardian. In Dark Ether, they're able to go out of bounds and just land on the platform where the Ingach, the Sky Temple, is waiting. But escaping that place is gonna be a lot trickier then. Do you remember that part of this Sanctuary Fortress that was used to go out of bounds? They're doing the exact same thing with this door, but being in Dark Ether this time. But it's a little different than what they're gonna do after that. They'll land on a ground and make the game think that that's the ground they were standing on the last time. And voiding out of bounds will result for the game to put you back in bounds, but in this side. But runners haven't beaten Spider Guardian, so there's a whole obstacle course on the way, and they cannot even use Spider Ball at all. Which means that they have to go out of bounds for this. And to go out of bounds, they'll use this screw attack. Then land on some courses of the Spider Guardian's track. All of these spots are well thought and timed. If any of them goes wrong, they'll most likely fall off. That was really well done. Then loading this next room and drop down to void out will spawn you back in bounds. And you remember that that wall that was scanned a long time ago with the Cobalt translator? This is the exact room. So they can get past that faster. And they don't have to wait for the gate to go down. All that's left is Temple Grounds. 3 more keys to collect. Each of these regions, Aegon, Torvus and Sanctuary, all of them have a single Ingach, so they have to travel to each one of them. So they'll open this portal, open this gate, open the second one, and open the last one. Then they'll come back each time they've gotten the Sky Temple key. Going around in Temple Grounds wouldn't be as fast. This is the Aegon side that would lead to Aegon. The next room is not possible to enter without the Seeker Missile. Fortunately, runners have a way to break that door open by using missiles and a screw attack. Just like that. The Ingach is waiting there with its Sky Temple key. And now they're heading back to the temple. We're gonna head to Sanctuary Fortress region, or the entrance that leads there. Very good use of extended dash there. Then shoot the portal and screw attack to the portal. The next door is also a Seeker Missile door. And the missiles have to be used with a screw attack to open it, just like the previous ones too. The Sky Temple key is waiting in a room that has nothing in a light ether. Back in Great Temple one more time to make our way to Torvus entrance region. Getting those missile reveals there was important. Because it will be hard to refill them later. Though in Sky Temple it is possible to get a guaranteed drops though. That was the last Sky Temple key. Time to head to the temple. Though, for this one, runners do not open the door, because the spots for the missile locks are too separate. So they have to go out of bounds. And that's how they'll get past the lock. Before I enter into the final fight, runners want to make sure they have enough missiles, because they want to have full missiles for the fight. They'll be using Super Missile against the first phase of Emperoring. Starting the fight, Light Beam is used to get all of the tentacles off. Then Super Missile is used for the weak point 4 times. The scan is open there to reveal the cooldown for Super Missile. That's the first phase. Then the second phase is using the spider ball to get up there and use the power bomb to kill all of those tentacles. Thanks to cannonball glitch, they are not taking any damage here. This part is quite annoying without that otherwise. That's the second phase. Next up is gonna be its spider form that can be very simply killed by using a screw attack. Though they unfortunately hit the Emperor Ring there. Screw attack for some reason deals so much damage to Emperor Ring, so that's how they can finish the fight fast. If that wasn't possible, they would have to hit its weak point, stun it, and then use the opposite beam, that is its weakness, to deal damage. And that will make the fight very tedious and long. So we're lucky we have screw attack to deal the damage to Emperor Ring. So that wasn't the final fight. The real final fight is Dark Samus. Dark Samus 3 and 4 are like separate phases. So Dark Samus 3 is the first part of this fight. Then Dark Samus 4 is like its next phase when it starts getting up, starts floating around, and all of those phazon particles you can use to kill Dark Samus. Why is it called Dark Samus 3 and 4? Well, the first Dark Samus fight happened in Akon, and the second one is in Sanctuary, so that's why it's called Dark Samus 3 and 4. For this part, they're using Screw Attack to deal the damage, pulling out the Dark Visor and using missiles to make it to use the shield attack. And that's how they can delay the Dark Samus 4 phase completely and finishing the fight with just a Screw Attack. And that is how speedrunners beat Metroid Prime 2 in just barely over an hour in real time, but the in-game time is 46 minutes. Big shoutouts to Mr. Mikkel for providing information about this game's speedrun tricks and glitches. And I hope I'll see you in the next video, finishing off the trilogy with Metroid Prime 3 Speedrun Explained.